ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome into the Friday, May 10th edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We'll open up our text line this hour for you at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Coming up this hour, we're going to be speaking with one of the high school coaches of an upcoming recruit for the Thundering Herd. Joining us on the program here in the next few minutes is going to be Kings High School basketball coach Steve Green. Steve is the coach of a upcoming recruit here for the Thundering Herd, and we're going to talk to him about what kind of player that Marshall is going to be getting here, and that's in Kassie Ingram. So Kassie committing to the Thundering Herd. We'll talk to her coach coming up in the show. And, of course, we will hear from you, so looking forward to that. We got to start off with Marshall softball. Yesterday, we were hoping that we would see the Herd beat Texas State, but weather did not allow that game to happen. So the Herd had to take the field a few hours ago, hoping to advance to an evening contest. Unfortunately, not able to get it done. The Thundering Herd wrapping up not that long ago, falling 8-2. Sad thing about this was Marshall started off, got a hit and thought, okay, things are going well, and that didn't lead to anything. But then Savannah Rice had to come in. 3 batters in the game because Bub Faringa was, I don't want to say shell-shocked, but it just wasn't having her game. Texas State had 8 batters in the first inning, and they took a 4-0 lead. And so 3 batters in to the game, and Savannah Rice has to come in for Bub. And they get out of the inning. As I said, they take a first inning lead of 4-0, and it just didn't get any better. Texas State would score another 2 in the 6th. Marshall had only 4 hits in the afternoon. They had 5 runners left on base. Bub, uncharacteristic for her. Her final record now 12-11. She threw 7 pitches, 3 batters, gave up 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned runs. And then Savannah Rice would finish the game for Marshall. She went 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout on 113 pitches. And part of the problem was you went up against Jessica Mullins. This is the Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year. She's now 28-8 on the season. She was having an absolute day. The Herd falling now to 25-28. They're 10-15 in the league. Texas State improving to 43-14. So they're going to play number 3 seed South Alabama. And that's coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. And they wanted to get this game over as quick as they possibly could because they're playing 2 today. Yesterday, that tornado that came through San Marcos forced a delay, and then at one point, they were out ready to start, and then the weather came in and it made it unplayable. And then when the tornado came through, they had to basically take shelter, and they could not play, and there was no chance of getting that in last night. So I don't know if the delay did anything. It gave the Herd a little bit more rest. That's the one thing you can say about it. It gave the Herd a little bit more rest, but you're coming off an emotional win the night before. Does that subdue you a little bit, the emotion? You have to carry that over an extra day without playing a game in a tournament situation. But to be fair, going up against Texas State, we knew that would be tough. They're the number 2 seed for a reason, and they've got the pitcher of the year. She performed well, and they are playing in their home field. They know the routine. They know the ins and outs of their own ballpark. Thundering Herd falling, not the kind of year you were hoping for Marshall softball. It's been sort of I don't want to say a rebuild. There's a core group there, but I think they're going to have to make sure you address a few things coming into the next season. You're going to have to replace, I think, several positions, get some depth in there. Pitching, you can improve pitching as much as you want to say pitching is fine. You're going to have to get some depth there and improve that. Hitting, I think the hitting will be fine with this team, but this isn't the softball team that we're used to seeing on a yearly basis that's competing for either a Sun Belt championship or previously a Conference USA championship. So it's not the same team, and that's going to happen. You have a coaching change, and you have players that will leave because of the transfer portal. You're going to have to do your best to replace them as quickly as you possibly can, and that's going to be the challenge moving forward. You could have a good team one year, and you can't count on having that good team the next year. Even if you would have some of the core players come back, key pieces might leave, go somewhere else, and you're starting almost from scratch. So still good season for the Thundering Herd. Not fantastic, not great, but good under the circumstances, and you hope that they will improve. You thought that with the day one win in the opening round, they might have had a little momentum going into this one, but they ran into a really tough Texas State team. That's the problem. The way this thing just got seeded out, maybe they would have had a shot in the other side of the bracket, but Texas State really good. Marshall baseball getting set for action. There's still some hope there for the Thundering Herd. Marshall's got a couple of series left. Some opportunity still remains for Marshall to get into the Sun Belt Conference tournament on the road, taking on James Madison. This is a must-win series for the Thundering Herd. Marshall did win 3 of its last 4, but the Herd right now is 12th in the Sun Belt. This is the final weekend series on the road. Here's an interesting fact. Marshall, on the road, 1-19. Absolutely abysmal on the road. And they've been outscored 183-65. That is not going to get it done. The only time that they actually had success on the road was a win at App State. It was a 9-8 victory. We got to go back all the way to March 28th to see the Herd register a win. Marshall's been competitive with JMU. They're 4-6 against JMU. Don't know what that really is going to mean with this series. So if the Thundering Herd has a little life left in it, it's going to have to start now if it wants to see postseason play. Being the 12 seed, you have an outside shot, but you're going to have to win more than you lose. You're going to have to win both series. Absolutely. You're going to have to win both series, and hopefully you can maybe, I know it's wishful thinking, can you get a sweep of one of these? I don't think so, to be fair. Can you win a series? Maybe you can steal a couple in a series. Maybe you can get the best of James Madison. Marshall's been very, very competitive at home. Not perfect, but competitive at home. On the road, though, it's just been a different story altogether for the Thundering Herd. So Marshall, in, I hate to use this term, the must-win series for their postseason aspirations. We'll get more into what's happening this weekend. There's a lot going on with college football. Realignment, it's ongoing. Nothing directly impacting Marshall, but Conference USA is making some noise. A little addition there. We'll talk about some of the other things that are happening with some of the other conferences, and something that excited my producer today when he found out about it. He's excited. He's saving up right now because this job doesn't pay, so he's going to have to get money elsewhere. The cover apparently is leaked for the new EA Sports NCAA college football game, and so fans have been waiting for this for years. We've gone a generation without a new college football game. I think at least it's been 10 years at least? It's been 10 years. Was it NCAA 14 was the last one? It's the last college football game that we ever had until the new one coming up. So we'll get into a little bit of that, if we have time. But there's a lot to get into. And when we continue, we're going to talk to the head coach of Kings High School, Steve Green. We're going to talk about Kassie Ingram, she committing to the Thundering Herd, and Marshall head coach Julie Folks. We'll talk to him when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
The Greenup County Public Library celebrates summer with their summer reading program. See the website for details. Girls' Night Out at the McKell branch will be Thursday, May 16th at 6 p.m. with the movie The Color Purple for ages 18 and up. The Flatwoods branch will host movie night Friday, May 24th at 6 p.m. showing Gran Turismo. Sign up for these and other events at greenuplib.org or visit the Greenup County Public Library Facebook page for complete details and other library news.
The more vulnerable among us can fall victim to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. When navigating your way out, it doesn't have to feel like a maze. Assistance is available from Adult Protective Services. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL HHS and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you one of the nearly 10 million families that own a timeshare? Unfortunately, many families stuck in timeshares have learned the dark side of ownership, as their timeshare ends up being nothing like they were promised. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. If you were lied to when buying a timeshare, you're going to need help. I know this because I once worked as a timeshare salesman, but quit the business and made it my personal mission to help folks get rid of bad timeshares. That's why I put together a timeshare exit information kit to help you understand how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Over 30,000 families have trusted us to get rid of their timeshares. Many started out by simply calling us for the free information kit and are now timeshare free.
To get your free information kit, call Wesley Financial now. 800-814-1500. That's 800-814-1500. 800-814-1500.
Did you know that nearly 75% of people say family is their top priority, but only 50% have life insurance? Give your loved ones something they can count on with coverage through SelectQuote. When my husband and I went to SelectQuote.com, we had quotes from multiple carriers in minutes. Then, an experienced licensed insurance agent helped us find the right coverage for our budget. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. It's never too late to protect your family's future. Some policies are less than $1 a day.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-6262 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-6262. 1-800-280-6262. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Friday, May 10th edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We'll open the text line back up for you in just a few minutes at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Well, when Marshall hired Julie Folks as its next women's basketball coach, there were a lot of questions as far as what the roster might look like, how many people would enter the transfer portal. The good news is that a majority of the players that put themselves in the transfer portal are coming back to the Thundering Herd. And it's almost unheard of these days, Julie Folks actually hitting the high school route to start recruiting. And her first signee was announced just a few days ago. It's Kassie Ingram. She is a Ohio native coming out of the Cincinnati area, and she attends Kings High School. And joining us now to tell us a little bit more about what kind of player that Marshall can expect is Kings High School women's basketball coach Steve Green. And Steve, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it this afternoon.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm glad we got a chance to connect and get to talk about Cass a little bit. You guys are going to love her over there.
Yeah, she seemed like she was fun already on Twitter when the announcement was made, and a lot of Herd fans were happy for her. What kind of person can we expect when she takes the court? What's she going to bring to Marshall basketball?
The one word I always describe her with is relentless, and that is the best description. She plays at 100 miles an hour and just energy every time she steps on the court, and you're going to love seeing that and just that competitive. I mean, she competes, man. She's a competitor. It didn't matter if we're playing basketball at practice or maybe a fun game of kickball or dodgeball. She's out there to win. and she brings that, every time she steps on the court.
How excited were you when you found out that she decided to accept and come to Marshall?
It was exciting. I mean, she was, originally committed to Canisius, and then the coach left, and you hate to see a player who's worked really hard, all 4 years have something, that they've been looking forward to. That was one of her goals. We sat down as a freshman. Her goal was to play D1, and to have that nervousness about what's the next step is very, for a 17-year-old kid, that's tough. So to see that fruition come to play with Marshall, especially, it was fantastic for her and her family. I couldn't be happier for her.
We're still getting to know Julie Folks as she took the job just recently for the Thundering Herd. What's your impressions of the new head coach for the Thundering Herd?
Well, it's interesting. So we got a chance to I got to know Coach Folks because we still do. We take my team down to Transylvania team camp in June. And so we spent the last 2 summers down there. We're spending our 3rd this year. And I got to get a chance to go, and we sat down in her office and, show me practice film. She's willing to share her knowledge of the game. You're going to love the way she plays, high tempo, loves players that can put the ball in the hoop from long range. Just really is analytical about the game with a great, just great basketball IQ of understanding her team and how to get the best out of her players. So I was very impressed with that. And her record at, Transylvania speaks for itself, understanding how to win. And I just think your guys are going to love having her there at Marshall.
Was she someone that was on maybe the short list? I know Division I was Cassie's dream, so Transylvania maybe didn't fit the bill. But if Division I wasn't an option, was Transylvania in the mix prior to her committing to Canisius, or was Canisius all the way? But did Julie have a chance before this?
Well, I mean, she was pretty much, I'm not going to lie, she was pretty much Division I. She wanted to go Division I. It wasn't Division I or bust, but she definitely wanted to explore those options. But she really likes Coach Polk, but not, she had a dream of going to that level, and she's a fantastic player. So it's not a knock on any. If you play in college in any division, you are one heck of a player. But she really wanted to go D1. So I'm just glad everything worked out for both of them.
You described her as relentless, and Kassie is pretty productive when it comes to scoring. Coach Folk's known for a little bit more of a defensive mindset. How does Kassie fit into those plans, you think?
Well, Cass has, she set our school record in rebounding. So as a wing, she actually averaged almost 8 rebounds a game, and had ended her high school career with about 600 career rebounds from a guard position. So, there's an old saying in basketball, rebounding wins championships, and that's part of that relentlessness. So she can go and she just attacks the ball off the glass. And then her length, she also holds the school record in steals. So, she's averaging almost 3 steals a game, which once again, rebounding, you get steals, extra possessions in basketball. Those are game changers in a close game. So, I mean, she plays with great length. She can guard multiple positions. We used to laugh as a coaching staff. Teams will try to post her up, and we'd laugh because we knew she was about to get a steal, just because she's so good with her hands. She has some of the quickest pair of hands I've ever seen. They are lightning fast. So it's good. You guys will definitely like her mindset on the defensive end. She can play zone or man, just with her length and versatility.
Does she have a preference? Where does she want to see herself?
In the offensive end or defensive? Are you asking me, does she want to play zone or man? Where do you think?
Well, what position do you think she's most comfortable at?
She's going to be, she's most comfortable at 2 or 3 spot, playing off the wing. She shoots it really well, but she drives. She's great first step, but she shoots the ball really, really well at a very high percentage. Her junior and senior year, she shot junior year 47% from 3, senior year 41% from 3, which that is an extremely high percentage for a high school player. Getting the team's best defender, and the ability to drive. So she is a 3-level scorer. But you put her on the wing. I believe that she can step on a court in college and get you, 8 to 12 points very quickly with her ability to score at all 3 levels.
Steve Green's with us. He's the head coach of Kings High School, and Marshall signing one of his standouts, Kassie Ingram. What kind of player is she off the court? What kind of personality can we expect from her? Relentless, we love hearing that about her, and yeah, that's going to excite a lot of fans. But what kind of teammate is she? What's she like off the court when it's not basketball?
Great teammate, great in the community with young fans. I have emails from the last couple years. We do a thing. We actually partner with the boys program for like first and second graders in our community, and I get emails from parents about how wonderful she was with them, teaching and being patient. She even asked me. I saw her a couple days ago. She's like, "Coach, when's camp? So I want to come help out and work summer camp for you guys and see the little ones in the community." So she takes great. She knows that the young ladies in our communities look up to her, and she takes great pride in that, and is wants to do those things with them. So that's her character right there. When you get emails from parents of little girls who look up to her, it means a lot as a coach, because her family, herself, we're doing the right thing, and you're going to love that at Marshall, the fact that she's going to want to give back to the community.
And was that important to her in the recruiting process? I mean, Coach Folk's reputation, so she has a strong reputation, but was that maybe one of those components that you didn't question it? Either you have this or you don't, and that maybe helped her make the decision to come to Marshall?
Yeah, she definitely did help. I mean, that is a component of her personality that she wants. She's a definite community, family atmosphere player you are getting there. And in the landscape of everything in college sports now, she's a kid who's very loyal to where she wants to go. So that's important. It means a lot to Cass to have, continuity and being part of something bigger than her. That does mean a lot. I'm
kind of curious, how much influence did you have in this decision, or how much input when she was trying to find a new spot?
A little bit. I mean, it actually is very funny, because I just sent Coach Folks an email, said, "Hey, Cassie's looking. You got to see her play down there. She loves how you ran things." And so same, like 2 days later, because I know it was right after she accepted the Marshall job, we connected again, and then I got Cass. I think it was like a week later she visited, loved everything, talked to the parents. They couldn't speak more highly about the campus, and their excitement in their voices was tremendous. And I just said, if you're ready, pull the trigger. That was pretty much my end of it from there. If you're happy with what she's offering, Coach Folks pretty well, don't wait around. Let's go ahead and commit. So, because I truly believe Coach Folks, you guys are going to love her there. She's wonderful.
Steve Green's with us, head coach, Kings High School. Marshall signing Kassie Ingram. She'll be joining the Thundering Herd the upcoming season. So I presume you didn't come on the visit with Kassie, but any chance you're going to be able to make it for a game or two down the line?
Yeah, I think definitely. We try to, I'm lucky enough to have multiple players at different levels right now, and we try to take the team up. We'll try to arrange something to go watch her play at least once or twice, and then I have my family. We'll try to go up there. It's much closer than Buffalo, New York, where Canisius is located, so that makes it a little more feasible. And I'm interested to see the campus, all the glowing, reviews I heard from Coach Folks and Cass about all the improvements going on there. I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah, up the AA highway is like 2.5 hours. Depending on the way I drive, it might be quicker. Who knows? But
yeah, so we're excited to try to make it over there and see a game. Definitely.
What do you know about the Sun Belt? I know it's a little different in Buffalo than it is in Huntington as far as conferences are concerned. But what was your early impressions of the Sun Belt when you were helping Cass maybe make the decision, or at least giving her guidance?
Well, good. You're going to have good, solid. I think it's an up and coming mid major. I think it is. I think the conference as a whole, and I think women's basketball whole is developing a depth across the board. And she wanted to be part of that. So she also wanted. It was also very important for her to go to a conference where she could play and compete right away. And that was also part of her decision making process. But going through the schools, I've checked the conference out. It's very good competition. And I do think, however, that Coach Folks can go in there and definitely do some damage right away with her analytics and the way that she designs her game plans and things.
My guest, Kings High School coach Steve Green. He's head coach of Kassie Ingram. She'll be heading to Huntington sooner than you think, and Yeah, we're excited to have her come into Huntington, and looking forward to. It seems like it's a perfect fit for her. She's close to home, but yet far enough so she can still get that college experience. I mean, she could have she possibly could have stayed closer to home, right? I don't know if what kind of interest she had in UC or some of the other schools, but she probably wanted to go a little bit further than around the corner, right?
Look, yeah, she did want to get a little further away. I mean, you are getting a great she's a plus 4.0 student. So, that was also played in the factor. She loved what the academics looked like at Marshall. But yes, you're correct. She did want to get a little farther away from home, but she is excited about the distance where her family can see her play. And that did also play a factor in that role. But Cincinnati is, she did have some people calling him, but once she went up to Marshall and talked to Coach Folks, it was a done deal.
My guest, Steve Green, head coach of Kings High School. Kassie Ingram, signee for the Thundering Herd, and she'll be coming to Huntington soon. Steve, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it. We love hearing a little bit more about some of the players. It's so rare these days that a recruit comes in and it's not from the transfer portal. So it seems like it's refreshing to have someone come in from high school to start their career.
Yeah, and like I said, that she is a committed young lady, and that's one, she doesn't, I can't say never, but she is a loyal player. Like she wants to be somewhere, and she wants to stay somewhere, and she wants to leave a mark somewhere. That's really important to her.
Good luck in the season coming up, Steve. Thanks for spending some time with us, and hopefully maybe we can get a few more Kings High School players coming our way. Now we can get that pipeline going.
I'll do my best over the next couple of years. Cincinnati is a great place for high school sports, but I'll do my best to get them over there to Coach Folks for you.
Yeah, that would help me as well, because again, I'm a Cincinnati boy. I love Cincinnati. It's the other place that makes me happy. Not just here, but Cincinnati. So I'm all in on all the teams from Cincinnati.
Well, that's great. Glad to. Now if the Reds win a game or two, we'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but the good news is the Bengals are not the Bengals anymore, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I hate to break it to you. I'm originally from Cleveland. So we can have another discussion.
Nobody's perfect, Steve. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I know. It's all right though. I my boys, I do send them to school in some Browns gear. I can't help it.
I mean, I wouldn't respect you if you didn't. So I respect that. Absolutely. That's hilarious. Steve, thanks for doing it. Now, hopefully we get to talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Steve Green, head coach, Kings High School. It's going to be hopefully a pipeline from Cincinnati to Huntington here in the near future. But Kassie Ingram making her way to Huntington. She'll be playing with the Thundering Herd sooner than you'd think. Quick timeout. We come back and we'll get your text in. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
America Strong. It's what we're all about. And to keep America strong, all Glockner locations are offering our lowest live market prices so you save big. And with our partnership with Kelley Blue Book, the Glockner buying centers are able to offer $2,000 above current market value for your current vehicle. That's how we're keeping America strong at the Glockner family of dealerships.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
Sunflower Seeds will host an I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K Saturday, May 18th at Ritter Park. It starts at 9 o'clock. Visit TriStateRacer.com to register. T-shirts, canvas bags, and other items, part of the $25 pre-registration fee. Sunflower Seeds Incorporated is a tri-state area nonprofit established to raise awareness and resources for humanitarian aid to Ukrainian refugees. 17 million Ukrainians are in need of aid, and most of the refugees are women and children who want to remain near their Ukrainian homeland. To date, Sunflower Seeds has raised $40,000 and over 13,000 pounds of food and medical supplies have been delivered across 6 trips to Poland and beyond. Again, to be part of this I Run Walk for Ukraine 5K May 18th at Ritter Park, 9 o'clock, visit TriStateRacer.com to register.
Did you know that nearly 75% of people say family is their top priority, but only 50% have life insurance? Give your loved ones something they can count on with coverage through SelectQuote. When my husband and I went to SelectQuote.com, we had quotes from multiple carriers in minutes. Then, an experienced licensed insurance agent helped us find the right coverage for our budget. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. It's never too late to protect your family's future. Some policies are less than $1 a day.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-6262 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-6262. 1-800-280-6262. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night. Perfect. I love my job. Oak tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think you would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
We continue on with this May 10th edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can also find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. Thundering Herd baseball in action tonight, hoping to win the series and try to stay in the hunt for a spot in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Thundering Herd hopefully can get it done. The softball team, unfortunately, their season is over. But as far as baseball is concerned, we still got a couple of weeks to go. So hopefully the Herd can turn it around. Let's talk a little basketball for a minute while we have a moment. This was reported by Rocco Miller over at College Hoops Bracketology. It's bracketeer.org, and he does bracketology there. And he is reporting that Marshall will play in a 2-game multi-team event that will feature Marshall, Bellarmine, Southern Indiana in November. So this is going to be Marshall and Southern Indiana on November 11th, and then it's going to be Marshall taking on Bellarmine on November 16th. So that's what this looks like as far as a couple of games that'll be on the Thundering Herd schedule. What do you think? I'm not a big fan of these multi-team events like this. I'm hoping that the Thundering Herd can play a little bit more of a challenging schedule. Define challenging, you say. Is Southern Indiana and Bellarmine, is this challenging? Now, of course, you got a new first-year head coach and a situation that's trying to, I don't want to call it a rebuild, but let's be honest, it feels like a rebuild. And I guess in the transfer portal age, every year is a rebuild. Maybe you want to have some games that are competitive enough, but not overly challenging. Of course, we haven't seen what the rest of the schedule looks like just yet, so this could be an interesting couple of days. It sure beats going to the Cayman Islands, right? Did Marshall get anything out of that? Did Marshall get any real benefit out of that? I mean, it was a nice trip, nice weather. I get this. I would like to see Marshall play a little bit more of a challenging non-conference schedule, because the only way you're going to get into the NCAA tournament is winning the Sun Belt Conference tournament. You know, when you're in the Sun Belt, there's not going to be that many at-large bids. There's not. Sun Belt, historically, not a multi-bid league. So the only way you're going to get in. And, of course, That was the argument that Dan D'Antoni made. Look, it's fine. This conference thing's fine. We're going to get ready for the tournament. Now, I don't want to necessarily put the regular season on the back burner, but I do think that you should have a non-conference schedule that's going to challenge you. And we haven't seen the rest of the schedule yet. So you can't just have Murderer's Row there. To be fair, you can't. You can't have one after the other, after the other, after. I mean, you're going to have varying degrees here. Some games more challenging, some games right in your wheelhouse. Maybe you have a couple of games there too where, basically it's not a scrimmage. It's better than a scrimmage, but it's not a scrimmage. You need a mix there, but I do want to see what the rest of the schedule would look like, and hopefully there'll be some challenging games there for the Thundering Herd, because I do think that there is value in winning the regular season part of the conference. There's absolute value there. Is it going to guarantee you a bid in the NCAA tournament? Not at this point. Maybe down the line if the Sun Belt improves as a basketball league, but if you could win the regular season portion of the schedule, I'm not saying the NIT is a automatic fallback these days, but there it is. It's a possibility. So interesting schedule note there for the basketball squad. Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Some interesting things happening in college football. We'll get into that. And we'll get your text when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 AM 930.
Save big money and transform your home with new appliances now at Menards. We offer the lowest prices and the largest in-stock appliance selection. Ready to take home today. Check out top appliance brands, including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Upgrade your home and save big money on new appliances at Menards. Shop our entire selection of appliance options online today at Menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Did you know that nearly 75% of people say family is their top priority, but only 50% have life insurance? Give your loved ones something they can count on with coverage through SelectQuote. When my husband and I went to SelectQuote.com, we had quotes from multiple carriers in minutes. Then, an experienced licensed insurance agent helped us find the right coverage for our budget. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. And with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. It's never too late to protect your family's future. Some policies are less than $1 a day.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-6262 or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-6262. 1-800-280-6262. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton. Tacos, tacos, tacos.
And margaritas, too.
The second annual Huntington Taco Fest is on, presented by Walking Billboard and Western Regional Casa. Saturday, May 18th at Harris Riverfront Park in downtown Huntington. Enjoy more than 20 food vendors and area restaurants and their unique take on tacos, nachos, and quesadillas. Plus, a plethora of flavored margaritas, Mexican beers, and more. Taco eating contest for kids and adults, inflatables, a mechanical bull, and more prizes. Included free food for a year, Ray-Bans, and more. Plus, a chance to win an Apple Vision Pro. All at Harris Riverfront Park, Saturday, May 18th from 12 to 8. Sponsors include Evan Juice Cars, Sean Hornbuckle, Edward Jones, Rocco's, Texas Roadhouse, Airfield U, Legends Barbershop, Stadium Spirits, Hillcrest Landscaping, Summit Community Bank, West Tanapa, Gabby, Casa Grande, Taco Brothers, Modelo, and the Beverage Market. Huntington Taco Fest, Saturday, May 18th at Harris Riverfront Park in downtown Huntington. Get more info on Facebook or at Taco Fest WV on Instagram.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Let's go back to our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter writes in and says, Paul, Marshall basketball needs to play Ohio University, Morehead State, and EKU every year. What do you think? I appreciate the text. I say yes, absolutely. They need to play every year. I would look at some of the teams that are in the area. Now, this is basketball. I'm not talking football. Football, I would like to see Ohio on the schedule a lot more. I wish Morehead State had football to the point where it made sense for Marshall to play Morehead again. That was a long-standing rivalry. I hate that it's no longer a viable rivalry in football, but basketball, it sure is. So I would find a way to play Ohio non-conference every year. If you have to get rid of a couple of other MAC schools on the schedule to make room for a couple others that are in the area, I would do that. I would play Ohio on the schedule every year. I would play Morehead State every year. And you can make that trip. That's a yearly trip, home and away. You can make that 1 year, go down, bring them up next year. I think that one, I don't think you're standing on ceremony here by saying we're too good, we're too much of a powerhouse here. We have to play no. Ohio, yes. Morehead State, yes. I have a disdain for EKU, so absolutely would I play EKU. I don't know if I'm dialing them up in football every year. I get it. You bring in some of the Division I AA type teams, the FCS squads. You do that. I get that. But in basketball, I could see a schedule with consistent trips to and from Ohio, Morehead State, EKU. I mean, I would evaluate the value of these behind the scenes, obviously, but I would make that part of the schedule, if at least not yearly, almost every other year. I could do that. I could see that. I mean, do you pick up a couple other schools in Ohio? I'll throw in Northern Kentucky, NKU. I'd get them on the schedule a little bit now and then. Try to have a slight regional flair to it. You shouldn't have. Here's the thought process for me. You shouldn't have to drive past one school to play another. Yeah, look at all the schools you're driving past to get to another school. And, of course, I know there's a lot of people that might want to see Western Kentucky back on the schedule in basketball. I would be okay with that. I don't know if Dan in the past really liked that drive, so Dan's not there anymore. I don't know if Corny liked that drive, but there it was, and it was a good rivalry. I think Herd fans like to see Marshall and EKU and WKU and Ohio really get after each other. I think that we're on to something here with that. But I don't have a problem taking on MAC schools. I'm a little older than I used to. I used to think that the MAC's a joke, and then, obviously the MAC did all right against the Herd in basketball. It was a little bit more challenging than you first thought, right? And there were some factors in that, but and then the football started to catch up with Marshall as well. And then when Marshall jumped into Conference USA, there was that attitude for a while that, hey, Marshall's better than the MAC. You got to win those games. You win those games, you can have those conversations a little bit more. Speaking of Conference USA, now I will take my shots at Conference USA. Conference USA, more conference alignment here. First up, let's go with the West Coast Conference. Grand Canyon and Seattle and the 25-26 season. Grand Canyon, it's in the Western Athletic Conference. Grand Canyon is going to compete in 14 sports. The Sports that are excluded will be men's volleyball, swimming and diving, and track and field. Not everything translates over to your new conference. Grand Canyon says that the option for the remaining sports are being evaluated, and men's volleyball will continue to play in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. Seattle will compete in 14 of the 16 sponsored sports. Seattle has been in the Western Athletic Conference since 2012, so they're making the shift here. Yeah, I think that Grand Canyon will be fine. I think Seattle's going to have to step it up when it comes to money. And then Missouri State will be the third school, with Kennesaw State and Delaware being the other two, in 2025 to make that move from FCS to the FBS level and join Conference USA. So Missouri State is going to be now the 5th FCS program to join Conference USA. So remember, there was a pitch to keep Marshall in Conference USA. There was a pitch, and it was pitched as a good thing. Look, you could be the big dog here, and you would have been the big dog in a conference that includes Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State, Delaware, Kennesaw State. Now, Missouri State's been a longtime member of the Missouri Valley Conference, and they've been an FCS school since '81, and they have made the FCS playoffs. I don't think that Marshall had any business sticking around in this conference, and thankfully it didn't. Travel is going to be ridiculous in this thing. Absolutely. At least the divisions make sense in the Sun Belt. The divisions make sense. The travel makes sense. The matchups make sense. Already, you're starting to enjoy those matchups with James Madison. Of course, you get Appalachian State. You get Georgia Southern. And those folks like playing against Marshall. It's not the number one rivalry, but it's close. It's getting up there. App State is always going to be a fun rivalry. Yeah, so I wish Conference USA a lot of success and luck here, but I'm glad that Marshall does not get in this. Look, Liberty is going to run this thing. It's just got the most money. Liberty's going to run this thing. New Mexico State, Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State, Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, UTEP, and Florida International, along with the other schools that are coming in. That's your Conference USA. I mean, that could be an interesting basketball conference. For as far as football is concerned, it's going to be challenging. And then, of course, we're all going to be real soon locked into our PlayStations or Xboxes, whatever you have. The cover was leaked by Sony in the PlayStation Store for the deluxe edition of EA Sports College Football 25. A generation is gone without playing an EA college football game. At one point, there are people looking forward to this game more than Madden. Absolutely look forward to this game way more than Madden. So the cover is leaked, and the primary cover athlete, at least in the deluxe edition, is going to be Michigan's Donovan Edwards. So, are you excited for the game? Have you aged out? Do you play the PlayStation anymore? Looking at you, Ben, I know you do. You're like 20. I know you play the PlayStation. If you played this game 10 years ago, are you going to play it again? You're going to introduce your children to it? Hey, look, son, here's what Daddy played when he was going to college. Instead of going to the games, he was playing the game. Yeah, they had a great feature in one of those games where you could use your own music and assign it to different things that happened. And so if you knew people, you could get all the sounds that Marshall was using in its game day presentation, and you could make it like the game day presentation with the custom music and everything. You could do that. I wonder if they're going to do that again. I probably don't expect that to happen. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. Back with you on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.